As soon as we had crossed the Ethiopian border, the landscape changed dramatically. Poor huts, poor people, and no traffic. We made a stopover at Lake Tana, where we stayed for a couple of days and enjoyed the quiet atmosphere. Papyrus boats were passing, rare birds were singing in the trees, we took part at the clothes distribution and finally visited the palace district in Gondar. We visited the monastery with typical paintings at the ceiling and the baths of Fasilidas and left Gondar direction north to the hardly developed area around Exum. The Ethiopian highlands are of rugged beauty, sparsely populated, averaging over 2,000 meters above sea level. Only a few roads go from north to south, little traffic, therefore gravel roads, only maintained rarely. Ethiopia spends little money for infrastructure. Mountain roads are expensive to maintain and build. We move forward slowly. We are heavily loaded, have spare diesel on board, and the slopes are difficult. For hours we meet no other vehicle. We enjoy the scenery, enjoy the deep gorges and forget the effort it takes to travel here. We are exhausted and take a coffee break. The entire transportation of goods to the north runs through this route. Truck drivers know the route and need 2 days from Gondar to Aksum. It will take us 4 days. There are only a few villages in the north. The farmers live in scattered huts and plow the barren ground. They plant corn and other crops and keep cattle, but more frequently goats. The northern highland is divided into broad plateaus characterized by table mountains and deep valleys. While the population in Europe has settled in highland valleys, here they inhabit the high plateaus. The valleys divide the land and prevent communication in many places. The valley sections north of Gonda are the borders between the provinces Begemda, Tigray and Simian. As soon as we stop at the roadside, out of nowhere, numerous children appear. They are usually shy at first, but curiosity wins and they get closer. Bodo shares his snacks. The heads of the girls and boys are shaved to prevent lice and fleas, probably. Traditionally they wear floor-length dresses. The red earth is for us like hell, because the fine dust gets in our vehicles and covers everything with a thick layer. It is already late afternoon and we are tired. We begin to look for a place to stay. The road winds down to the river Teketse, where we want to set up our camp. Early morning we scare up a camel, which cannot decide which side it prefers to escape. In a bigger village we find ourselves in a procession. It could be a national or religious holiday. We do not know, but the colorful umbrellas are beautiful to look at. A detour. Road construction is in full process across the country. Above all, China is building the roads in return for economic impact and the hedging of future markets for Chinese goods. After some time we reach Exum and take a look at the columns. The fallen stela was already broken at the time of its construction. Stele are markers of tombs. Over time they have developed into high-rise buildings decorated with entrance door and floors similar to the houses as they are found in Yemen. We are more interested in the carts with the yellow and red tanks. They transport water from the river or pond because there is no running water in the houses of Exum. We leave Exum north. From here there is brand new tarmac and it is a pleasure to glide through the beautiful landscape. The animals and humans have not yet adapted to the higher speeds on tar. Therefore, extreme care is necessary while driving. In the mountainous hinterland beyond Adigrat, Bain and Bodo want to visit a rock monastery. Picturesque it is on the ledge. As we can see the wooden stairs construction, we do not want to climb up anymore, but Bodo and Bain give it a try. From here our route runs just to the south. We want to get to Lalibela, but until there it is still 2 days to drive. find a place to sleep beside the road, and quite a few children are here to observe us. My wife asks them a lot of questions which the boys do not like, and they are leaving, which ensure the good night. After the obligatory cup of coffee in the morning, we travel on. The last 30 kilometers before Lalibela, we are already tired of the corrugated road and increase our speed to 70 kilometers per hour, because you do not feel the bumps at that speed and sail over the bumps, but you have little control over the vehicle. Conclusion, I can hear our bearings. The churches of Lalibela are a highlight of our tour through Ethiopia. They belong to the last rock-hewn churches built in the 12th century. These churches are rectangular layout as opposed to churches built around the 16th century. However, each of the 11 churches has its own character. King Lalibela had built the church into the red tuff, so the legend says. Angels have continued to build them at night and accomplished so double the work performance. More realistic is that they had been built under several kings, among whom was a King Lalibela. It is still not entirely clear why there is this unique concentration of various rock buildings. Lalibela is a symbolic representation of Jerusalem. There is a place, Golgotha, a grave of Adam, and a grave of Jesus. Also, a fee must be paid for the entrance. Lalibela is not a museum, but an active faith center. There are still active services held in front of believers, and they speak their prayers and religious songs. Unfortunately, this is also the place where we separate from Bain and Bodo after 2 months of traveling together. Bodo and Bain go a different route. It takes us to Bahyada on Lake Tana. We organize a boat trip to the island monasteries. In the morning we leave. In a nutshell, with a very nice boatman and 3 other participants, we start to the first island. Our first monastery is Entos Eyeso. It is a circular building with simple construction on a hill overlooking the lake. It is an active monastery. 2 monks live in the compound. Not at all monasteries women are allowed to enter. On the way we see many papyrus boats. The boats can be up to 10 meters long and are made of papyrus stalks which are tied into bundles. The lines are obtained from the fig tree. After some time of usage, it must be dried again. To date, a large part of all goods, such as wood, are transported with such boats between the islands and the mainland. Supposedly, the boats can carry up to half a ton. We land on the island monastery Seki, actually a peninsula that is accessible only during the dry season overland. As more visitors come here, souvenir stalls have established. A simple building forms the entrance to the monastery area. The monastery church is well attended. It is a simple wooden structure with grass roof, beams, and a wonderful structure which forms a covered porch.
Take my video. The painting information.
The interior is rich with images. The paintings are mainly from the period before 1900. Very much alive here are the various saints, and their legends from the Bible are painted. For example, the escape of the Israelites from Egypt. Near the monastery district, an ancient monk watches the monastery's treasures. We marvel at the 4 silver crowns, a coronation robe, and an ancient manuscript. We are surprised that these originals are not better protected.
I think, do you see that cross is the design of Aksum cross? That is made from silver. Those crowns are Ethiopian kings are donate for this peninsula. Different kings, King Johannes and Fasil from Gondar and Ambesion. They are made from silver and gold. That crown you can see at the left side, made from gold and silver. Those crowns are made from silver. It is used to queens are used before. Inside here, there is another crowns like this, but they show the original things like this. It is for protection. Before they bring by hand, but now they use like this. Do you see that book is made from goat skin? It is written Ge'ez language before Amharic language. That's 700 years old. I can read, but I cannot understand because the alphabet is Amharic, but it is Ge'ez language.
Same alphabet but different words.
Yeah.
We take some pictures admiring the Kalashnikov and walk back to the jetty where we wait for the others. Here we see the everyday life of Ethiopians, fetching water from the lake despite bilharziosis, which is carried in jars and cans for miles to their houses.
Maybe if you want to do like that, you can go to South Part in Arbam.
One monastery is still on our agenda, Debre Mariam. The building cannot assume that it was a famous monastery in which even 2 councils are held. Despite its simplicity, it pleases us. We also marvel at one of the oldest manuscripts, the Tetrapsalter, with valuable illustrations dated back between 1360 and 1380. Our day trip is over. In brisk ride we go back to Bahir. At the campsite we make ourselves more comfortable and in the morning we start to Addis Abeba. We must organize the yellow card insurance and want to get Kenya visa. On a new bridge we cross over the Blue Nile and make a break after the bridge to enjoy the view of the Nile. The Blue Nile rises in the highlands of Ethiopia and supplies during the rainy season from August to September 68% of the Nile water. End of August the flood reaches Aswan and late September Cairo. During this period the White Nile, which originates in Central Africa, provides very little water. We have reached Addis Abeba where we check in at Wim's Holland House at their campsite. Wim is a popular meeting place for overlander and we also meet other long-distance travelers. Like Michelle and Lawrence with her Land Rover, they are from Switzerland and started months earlier. Wim is Dutch and his wife Ethiopian, and together they run the restaurant and campground. New are the 2 German motorcyclists, Wolfgang and Sibylle, who started with their motorbikes in Germany to go to Cape Town. Because we recognize that we will not make the trip to Cape Town in the scheduled time, my wife Alexandra reluctantly quit her job in Austria. Now we are free and no longer have the pressure to be somewhere at a certain time. We drive to Lake Langano. The weather gets dramatically worse, but we enjoy the ride anyway, because there are so many things to see along the road, and now that we have time, we decide not to be stressed because of the weather. At Lake Langano we make a stop. Swimming in the lake is due to the high ash content absolutely safe. There is no risk of schistosmasias, and the water is really pink and feels very soapy. Here we stay for a few days and relax. Alexandra uses the soapy water for washing clothes. Despite many warnings, we decide to go to the Musi people, the plate-lipped people. It is a pretty long distance and a very bad road, but we want to go there. We leave the Rift Valley and turn onto a dirt road towards Arba Minch. Here again, life changes dramatically. In Africa, progress and development takes place only along paved roads. Once you get on a gravel road, people live back 100 years. Donkey carts and huts dominate the landscape. This has to do with the distances. On a paved road, you need an hour for 100 kilometers. On a bad gravel road, a whole day. This inhibits the transport of goods and merchandise, and also the way to educational institutions are in fact unattainable. We drive along the lake Abaya and have only a few miles to Arba Minch. Since we cannot visit Nechisa National Park without 4x4, we join two Dutch couples and take a boat trip to the national park.
There is something animal, dead animal.
With a minivan by Toyota, we go to the shore of the lake where the boatmen wait for us. The Dutch are as well on their way to Cape Town. We have a lot of fun with the two couples, so the tour promises to be quite funny. The last few meters we have to walk to the boat, and the adventure begins here, because we need some kind of balancing over a wooden ladder that is just laid on the water. In each hand bags and backpacks. Of course we get our feet wet. Thanks God there is no crocodiles around. Quickly we are sitting in the boat and off we go. The boat ride is nice because the scenery is beautiful and the temperature on the lake is not too hot. The breeze of the wind cools a bit. After just a short drive we see the first crocodiles. Impressive are the huge animals. Up to 5 meters in length they can grow, explains the boatman. The boatman sees hippos in the distance. We drive closer. Hippos are more dangerous than crocodiles for boats because if they feel disturbed, they sometimes attack a boat, dive under the boat and throw it over. There are frequent accidents with hippos, report the locals. Also impressive is a pelican colony, but the waves get higher and the nutshell rocks pretty hard. We must return to shore. The trip was shorter than planned, but was a great experience, and the boatmen were very busy to show us a lot of animals. Again wet feet, the rest of the day we spent on the terrace of the campsite, which is connected to a hotel. From here we have a great view of the park. In Ethiopia there is actually no camping, so it is customary that hotels let their lawn for camping. Usually you get the key for a room, so you can use the shower and toilet. The next day we leave early, because we want to go far as possible and the information about the road conditions are very vague. So we start in the morning and immediately we are slowed down by a herd of cattle. The cattle is followed by goats. Trucks and cars roamage through the crowd. That is Africa. Now things get tight. Nobody knows really where to go. But here in Africa, everybody respects the others. Everyone can use anything and have the same rights, as an African woman once told us in a shop. Africa is sharing, and this is actually true. A little later we are once again on a gravel road. Average speed is walking speed because we could go on foot, but driving is still more comfortable. Gravel roads are a big problem for vehicles, even for off-road vehicles, but for our European road limousine, a gravel road cannot be driven without damage. We are planning to buy a Land Rover in South Africa and continue, but the problem is to sell the van. Even here in absolute remote areas, roads are being built. Often gravel roads are completely replaced, but often only repaired after the rainy season, because the waters wash away the loose material and every season they need to be repaired. Feasible only here in Africa, because labor costs are very low. A road worker earns about $100 a month. We have reached Chinka and visit Margo National Park, in which the lip plate people live, here called Musi. Arriving at the hill, we pack our rescue belt back again. From here there are no steep mountains more to Cinca. I wonder if I switch to the spare tire here. I decide against it, maybe the tires stay to Cinca, where I can change the tires at the camp. We also hope that we can get our dimensions in Cinca, then we fit it to these rims.
Una vostra?
Annoyed and disappointed, we drive on the wire meshes onto Cinca. It should be another 10 kilometers. I have no idea whether we survive driving through water with these tires. Let's try it. We can always change them.
Go here, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Enough.
Worked. Now a river crossing. Supposed to go well. Well done, and already we are in Cinca. The place is the last outpost, and who wants to Omo should stock up here thoroughly. Gasoline, water, food, and there is a market where you can buy fruits and vegetables. The village is very busy because within a day's journey there is nothing here. The farmers come from the surrounding villages in long marches here to sell a cow or deliver the crops.
This man is crazy, I think.
It's okay. It's okay. Hey. Then in the camera weg.
Ist okay. Ist okay. Right.
Ja, nein, das weg. Das ist ja weg.
Ist die jetzt ganz schön?
Neu berechnen. Fahren Sie 1,8 Kilometer, dann links abbiegen in die Straße.
What does it mean? GPS?
She said we should turn.
Ah, ja. GPS. Ja, ja, da. G. Here on the top of the right front, I'll ask the tire. Okay, drive first a little bit.
Yeah.
No, a little bit. A little bit. This is motors.
Motorcycle only.
We stop here, but we do not get tires. So quickly we change to our spare tires, and without spare wheel we go to Kiafa. There we meet again Joachim, a South African of German descent we had met for the first time in Lalibela. He is on his way home to Cape Town. Spontaneously, he invites us to spend a few days with him in Cape Town. But Cape Town is still a long way, and we will not know how long it will take us there. But here we buy a heavily used spare tire for $150. At least we have one. Together with Joachim we make our way to Turmi. We have heard of the weekly market where different tribes come together from all over the area to trade at the market. The track is not bad. The red soil in the dry state can be well traveled, but when it rains, these slopes are huge slides and muddy. We are exhausted and go back to the shady campsite. It is a community campsite. It offers plenty of shade, fireplaces and showers. The water comes from an old oil barrel and is fed into the line. Simple and good. The The next morning we leave the Omo region and Turmi and drive through a beautiful landscape. Our goal is the Kenyan border. From the border onwards on Kenyan side, it is dangerous in many ways. On the one hand, the road is difficult. On the other hand, there are always reported serious robberies. But for us it is the only route to Kenya, as the route along Lake Turkana via Omorete cannot be done without 4x4. We have a noise at the vehicle but cannot localize it, maybe a shock absorber or a wheel bearing, but it does not help to know for up to Mazabit, about 1000 miles from here, there is anyway no village to be able to fix it, so only hope remains. We see our first marabou storks, a sure sign that we penetrate deeper into East Africa. We like Ethiopia very much. We'll visit it again in the near future or distant future. You cannot make plans in Africa. There are too many unknown factors.